Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Today we are unboxing some new fruit trees. So it's been a very busy day. It's already 1 o'clock and I'm just now starting to film. I met with my mentor this morning, my bee mentor this morning, and we came up with a new site here on my property to put the bees. I'm not gonna keep doing them out at the farm. There's way more forage here for them. I also can keep them safer here, keep an eye on them on a daily basis, and I won't have to worry about them and vandalism. So there's that. And then I also met with somebody else who came to look at my space to potentially do an event at, a fundraising event. So now I'm home from picking up Dylan, and before I go get Aiden, I want to unbox these trees, show you what I've got, and then maybe plant them, and at the very least, heal them in. So let's see what's in this box. I'm super excited. Okay, I believe there are 3 trees in here. Let's see what we've got. Oh, some of them are upside down. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna lay this flat because we've got, it got delivered that way, straight up and down, but they're laying in roots on this side and roots on that side. So it might be 4 trees. I don't remember. Okay, so the first, this is 2 right here. Oh, I'm gonna break off a bunch of stuff. Okay, yes, there are 2. These are bare root trees, which is awesome. And actually, there's only a few of the stems got broken. They're looking pretty good. So one of these is, all right, 2 sets of bare root trees. And let me look them up. They've got tags on each of the ones. These are some of those like 5-in-1 trees. So this one right here is an apple tree. It's got a Gordon apple. So this is a low chill apple tree because, you know, in my area, generally in zone 9B in Northern California, we don't get enough chill hours. So this is for chill hours that are, I think, 300 and less. So this apple tree has a Gordon apple, a Dorset golden apple, an Anna apple. Yeah, so it's 3 stems. So there's 3 types of apples on that tree. Then we have another tree over here. Oh, this is another apple tree. So there's a Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, a Fuji, and a Gala, and a, oh yeah, okay, so 2 apple trees that have 3 different varieties each. Then I have 1 tree by itself that is a honey jar jujube. So I've heard really cool things about this tree. So there's 3 trees in this bunch, bare root trees. Okay, now over here I have 2 trees, and I think these are the ones that were called like fruit salad trees. So this one is on Lovell Peach rootstock, and it has a Gold Dust Peach, an Independence Nectarine, a late Santa Rosa Plum, and a July Elbert Peach. So that's the fruit salad tree. And then this guy is a singular tree. It's a Heavenly White Nectarine. It's the only variety on this tree. So I'm really excited about this. These are huge, which means I might actually get fruit this year. They're way bigger than I thought they were gonna be. They are bare root, so I do need to get them soaking before they can go in the ground. So I'll get some buckets set up to do that. They'll need to soak for about an hour in just water, and I need to come up with exactly where I want to put them. So these trees came from a company called Peaceful Valley Farm and Garden Supply. They are in Grass Valley, California. So that is just east of here, a ways, right at kind of the foothills of the Sierra. And the great thing about them being so close is that they totally get the kind of trees and shrubs and things that will work in our zone because they're real close by. You can find them at groworganic.com. I actually will put the link in the description notes, but they've been wonderful. I've done soil tests through them before, which were great. I've gotten a lot of my fruit trees that I already have out there. I got some of those from Stark Brothers, and then the others were from Peaceful Valley. These, as I said, are from Peaceful Valley, and their customer service is amazing. So if you're in the market for some great fruit trees, you can get berry bushes and other stuff through them too. They have just a lot of stuff. You might want to check them out, groworganic.com. All right, so let's go look in the front garden and see what kind of space I have. I have some ideas about where I might want to put these that might not seem like a good idea at first, but actually might turn out to be a really good idea. So let's go take a look. Tomorrow morning, I am running to be there right when they open because they told me we sell out within like 15 minutes. I'm going up to Concord Feed in Pleasant Hill, and I'm going to grab a couple more chicks. They have sexed chicks, so they have pullets that they know are female. So I'm going to grab 3, probably 4 of those, because then I can be sure that what I have in my flock is female. So with the other 4 that are maybe female, maybe roosters, I do have some lines on places where I can give a rooster if I get one. So I hope that's not the case, but if I do, then at least I know where I can take that boy or those boys. All right, so on the way to the garden, I'm going to show you where the new beehive setup is going to go, and this time I'll actually film the whole thing. Last time I was so new and everything was kind of crazy, but we'll need to build a stand for the hive boxes, and then because the weather's been so crazy, I probably won't get the nuke till 3rd week, maybe 4th week of April, which is a lot later than last year, but that's what happens when it's very cold and very wet. Okay, so you'll have to apologize the huge mess. Just like most farms and stuff, got stuff everywhere. This is the welded wire that I found. We actually had a whole bunch behind the garden fence over there that we used to use for the deer fencing before we had this permanent fence put up. We're going to use this to complete our 4th side of the chicken enclosure. Now the bees are going to go right down here. So this is a slope. It's a pretty steep slope actually, but that can still be done. So what we're going to do is build the platform right along here, and I'll be able to fit 2, maybe 3. I'm going to try to build it for 3 hives wide along on this platform, and then I'll have this flatter spot behind here where I can work the bees. So it's still going to be, I'm still going to have to be careful, but this is a better spot than down there where we did look. It's nice and flat down there. However, that is floodplain when we get high, lots of rain, and I wouldn't want to flood out the bees. The other thing too is it's very, very humid down there. You can see the creek running from all the rain, and bees really suffer more from humidity than from cold. They have to work really hard to get the humidity out of their hives, and so you want them to stay as dry as possible. Up here, they'll be a whole lot drier because the relative humidity is a lot less up here than it is 10 feet lower. The other good thing about this area is we've got these beautiful manzanita bushes, which are actually in bloom right now, and they are favorite bee food. They love them. And we have willows and cherry trees and other fruit trees, and then of course this entire creek bed is full of, in addition to grasses, wild blackberries, and the bees love blackberry flowers. So oddly enough, they're going to have way more forage here than they do out at the farm, and that'll be better. And I'll be able to keep a close eye on them, and I'll be happy about that. They can come forage, and it'll be good for my garden too. So lots of pollination, no problem there. All right, so let's go look and see some sites for maybe putting these fruit trees. Since we're going in there, I'm going to do a little impromptu garden tour for you so you can see how everything is looking here at the end of the first 8 days of March. Okay, so we're outside of the garden, haven't gone in yet, but these are all the daffodils. That variety on the end there is, I think, a double and obviously much taller, but they came up sooner. So I'll be able to harvest on all of these soon. We have a few coming up over here too, and I've already started the weeding process. I went to the farm and got hose and stuff so that I could come here and weed. So garlic looking great. It's definitely coming along. That makes me very happy. We've got buds on the blueberries and these little ones too. These are pink lemonade blueberries, so we've already got buds on here. The lettuces that we planted in under here are still doing fine. Because we're gonna have heavy rain, they're gonna stay covered. These, we talked about yesterday, these are, I called them ice crystals. They're not, they're snow crystals. These are snow crystal tulips and whatever these are. I'm not sure what the variety is, but all of these are coming along. We are starting to get buds on the pomegranate, which is great. The blackberries are, they're a ways off. They have a ways to go. Nothing popping up yet in the asparagus patch, but like I said, it's been super cold. Lots and lots of buds on the blueberries though. Look at this, these flowers are starting to come out. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of berries. This bush over here is a different variety and it's always much farther behind. We are getting bud break on the 3-in-1 plum, as well as some flowers. Very pretty. No bud break on the pears or apples yet. Pollinator garden just kind of sitting. It will start to put on a lot of growth once we warm up. Onions still just kind of sitting here. Again, it's been cold. Broccoli I still haven't harvested, and this one's about to go to flower. You can still eat it, but not as tasty. And the beets that I sowed still have not germinated, and I think it's just been too cold. I have a feeling they'll germinate once we get warmed up. Radishes in here just kind of sitting because, again, too cold. But these daffodils, I've actually harvested quite a few of these. A number of them that you see are just leaves at this point. And again, I'm gonna leave these up as greens until they brown, and then I'll cut them back. But peonies, like I said, making an appearance all through this bed, and I'm super excited about that. 2 different varieties. Roses, starting to put on new growth even in this cold. So they're gonna do great. I'm really glad I got this all trimmed up because I didn't get to do it last year and it was a mess. Stock, super short, not sure it's gonna do anything. Some of these are getting taller, but also some of them are getting flower buds on them, like this guy here. And it's gonna have to get a lot taller before that'll be a usable stem. These fruit trees, these are the ones from Stark Brothers. This one is a Santa Rosa plum. It's got nice flowers on it. Hopefully they've been pollinated and we'll get some fruit on it. The blackberries over there starting to come into their own, which is great. They will have a lot of growth this year. And here's some, this is about to flower. This is a Sunglow nectarine. This guy is just about to flower as well. Look at those beautiful pink blossoms. Also a Sunglow nectarine. The avocado that looks like it's dead, but it's not. And I can tell because the stem is still green. Basically all these leaves will come off and it'll start putting on new growth once we get some warmth. However, I think I am gonna cut it probably right here to encourage some side branching. And elderberry plants are starting to leaf out. The peas still haven't germinated, like I said, just too cold, but they will, so it's gonna take some patience. This is an open bed. I think I'm gonna put the sweet potatoes in here. We'll see, because that's still a ways off. This is actually a grape that I need to get in the ground somewhere. Flame seedless, and I need to put this somewhere good. And then this is a goji berry. So I think I'm gonna put the jujube down here on this end as well, so the goji berry and the jujube can be together. They kind of need the same environment. This is all going to be potatoes, and I think once we get past this next round of rain, I'm going to go ahead and plant them. I do need to weed in here. But the flowers, they're doing okay. The straw flower is going to produce. It's just still suffering from lots of freezes, even though it was covered. It's been a rough year. But the Daucus looks amazing. And so does the Orlea. That's going to flower for me. And then the Amime just down here looking good too. However, see, this is that hairy bittercress. I got to come in here and individually, I can't do this with a hoe because they're kind of woven into the other plant. I got to come in here and pull these out. Definitely don't want these to go to seed in my beds. And then all along here are also peonies along this whole fence line with daffodils as well. So I just got to use my hoe and pull up these hairy bittercress, get rid of these guys. These are the lettuces that we planted last week, I think, and the Swiss chard. It's been undercover. I uncovered them today so they could have some like full strength sun warmth, but they're gonna have to go back undercover tomorrow afternoon before the heavy rains come. Snapdragons starting to bush out. This is what happens when you pinch them. You get lots of stems from a single plant, and those will all produce flowers. So just a few status plants here, but they are getting bigger. So they're looking good. This is how you want them to look. Then they're going to start sending up their flower spikes. Some of these got eaten by birds and never recovered, but there's enough here that I'll get a decent harvest. I just wonder what colors they're going to be. Then there's that crazy ranunculus over there, the volunteer from last year. Starflower, and then of course the always beautiful feverfew. Gosh, I just love this plant. I mean, I love it. I think the flowers are gorgeous. It's so prolific. Yeah, they just look so pretty. Garden tour over. Where are we going to put these fruit trees? Well, I can put a few in this space that I talked about putting sweet potatoes in, and I might have to do that because I can always find another location for sweet potatoes. Plus the sweet potatoes won't go in the ground till early May, so it's probably better to use this ground for that. I can probably fit two here, two of the trees in this location, but my crazy idea, however, it's done by lots of people, is to put a few of them in the chicken run. Now, would I put small plants in the chicken run? Heck no, because you know what? They would just literally disappear. The chickens would eat them all. But if I put some fruit trees along this back fence, maybe one per panel, they're not going to stick out too far, but they will, when they're leafed out, provide some additional shade for the chickens. Now the chickens will be able to get underneath the chickshaw to cool down in the summertime. And you know, remember, we get up above 100 degrees frequently here in the summer. But I want to also provide some, not just shade, but some cover for them to hide from hawks, etc. So I think I'm either going to put them close to, not on the fence, obviously, because you want to have some space, but pulled out a little bit from the fence line. And what I'll do is I'll pull away all the wood chips in those areas. I might even build a circle with some stones so that it's a kind of a barrier for a bit. And I can put chicken wire around their trunks in the beginning to keep the chickens from pecking at the trunks and while they get established. And then I think they'll be good to go. And so they'll provide cover, they'll provide shade, and also be edible. Plus they'll be getting fertilized by the chickens. So I've seen lots of people have chickens in their mini orchards, and it works out really well. You just have to set it up just the right way. Let's see if we can get started by planting this first jujube. Oh, but first I need to soak them, so scratch that. Probably won't be planting until later this afternoon. let's go get them set up in probably the wheelbarrow, and we can soak them in the wheelbarrow, soak the roots. Okay, so slowly filling the wheelbarrow to soak these bare roots. I do have a bit of a leak. So this thing won't stay full for long, but it should give me the hour that I need to have them soak. And then we'll at least plant the jujube and maybe the nectarine, and then we'll see about everything else. Okay, it's been about an hour and a half and the trees have been soaking. And so we're ready to plant. And I did a little bit more mental thought. I think I know where I'm actually going to put these other trees so I don't have to heel them in. I think I can put them in the chicken run where I want to put them now, and they'll be fine. It's going to be the same method for all the trees that I'm going to plant. We're going to dig a hole about twice the diameter of the root spread. And when I'm planting bare root trees, I like to actually leave a mound of soil in the bottom of the hole so I can kind of drape the roots around and then the kind of the bottom of the plant can rest on top of that mound. And then I'm also going to add bone meal to the hole. That's going to provide really important nutrients to help the tree start to produce a really strong root system. And I'm going to sprinkle the roots with mycorrhizal fungi to begin with so that it can start making those communication networks with the other fungi that is already present in the soil. So I'm going to get started. Okay, first one on. This is the jujube. I did exactly what I told you guys I was gonna do. And normally, you would then wanna water these in, but the roots have been soaking and this soil is very, very wet and we're about to get 5 days of rain. So it doesn't need to be watered in. But I did want to, part of the reason you water in is you want to get the air bubbles out of the soil so that this tree can settle. So I have really pressed down around the roots and gotten the soil very firm, and that should be good. So now we're going to move on to the other trees. Okay, so got it done. I'm actually really happy with this. So here is the fruit salad tree. That's one of the apple trees. That's one of the other apple trees. And then that is the white nectarine. And I tried to spread out the wood chips a little bit more. Now, this pen is actually going to be bigger than the wood chips currently are. It's going to go from that post over there to this post back here. And yes, this is close to that post, but it'll be fine. We are going to build the rest of the fence here. We have 2 4x4s to sink in here so we can make a gate that'll open that way because there's space, so that I can get in and out of here with a wheelbarrow. Yes, I could come much closer to these beds, but I am famous for getting things too close together and then being upset about that later. So I'm gonna leave myself a nice wide aisle that I can get a wheelbarrow up and down, because the whole point of this system is to produce compost. The gate's going to be wide enough to get in there with a wheelbarrow so I can shovel out the compost from under the wood chips in 8 months and get back out here so I can dump it in the garden. So in the next week or so, 2 weeks, well, it just depends on the weather, honestly, we need to sink those 2 posts in concrete and then put the 2x4s on it and the welded wire and the hardware cloth. And then the pin will be ready. And at the same time, we'll be working on the chickshaw. Now, the chickshaw is 4x4. And you're probably wondering, is that going to fit in between these fruit trees? Yes. This area is 10 feet by 20 feet. 17 feet on the back end, 20 feet up here, because it actually gets wider as we go south. So it's not going to be like I get, exact, right up against the fence line and everything. I'm going to be moving it back and forth down the middle, but it will still produce a lot of compost for us through the droppings. So yeah, these trees I actually will allow to get quite big, and there's a couple reasons that I don't do that with the trees up there. Those trees are on the south side of the garden, and if I let them get too big, they would shade the garden. But these trees are on the north side of the garden, and I can let these guys get big, leaf out, get huge, produce a lot of fruit. And the bonus of that is that they will provide shelter as well as shade for the chickens. So this first year, I don't know, we'll see how much growth they put on. Bare root plants a lot of times tend to grow faster than plants that come to you in a pot. So we might get a lot of growth. I'm less concerned with fruit at this point and more concerned with growth. So I want them to put a lot of effort into their root systems. Maybe we'll see some good top growth, but the whole point here is to really provide shelter and shade for the chickens, and at the same time provide fruit for us. Plus, the chickens can have all the dropped fruit. So that's going to be the plan. There's a possibility that I might put our fig. We have a fig tree in the backyard that's been in a big giant pot for 10 years. And it's never really done great. It really needs to be in the ground. I am thinking about putting it right here in this corner where my shadow is, in that corner once we get the fence up, because it will again provide more foliage, and I think it will fruit better if it's out here and not in a giant pot. Okay, the final job for today is to get the kids and sandbag the pool, so that we don't have another mudslide into our pool when we get the atmospheric ripper over the next couple days. It's kind of good timing. They agreed to help. They never complain. My kids are amazing. If I we have this big project to do, they don't complain. They just get it done. So it's kind of good timing though, because Dylan just texted me and said the Wi-Fi and the Ethernet are down. So it's not like they can do anything on their computers or on their phones right now. So we'll just go out there before the sun sets, because it's getting close, and get the sandbagging done. Oh, one thing I wanted to say about the trees. I So you never want to put wood chips, and we've talked about this before, you never want to put wood chips around the base of trees or the base of plants. Wood chips will tie up nitrogen and your plants will suffer until those wood chips completely decompose, which takes a long time when they're thick and chunky like that. So you'll say, well, but you scrape the wood chips around the... Yes, because there is a layer of cardboard around each of those trees, touching the trees right on top of the dirt. The cardboard will take a while to decompose. Actually, earthworms love the glue in cardboard. So if you want to attract earthworms to the surface and start working your soil around your plants, put some cardboard down. They love that stuff. I don't know what it is about the glue, but they love it. So that cardboard will be there for part of the season, 3 or 4 months, even with this rain. And by that time, the roots will have started to migrate out from underneath the cardboard anyway into the surrounding soil, and we'll be okay. All right, so thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.